Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
This video is part 2 of a 3-part series. We are replacing the lower intake manifold gaskets on a 3.4 liter V6 in this Grand Am. If you want to see the beginning where we take the intake manifold off, you go to part 1. And here's a brief view of the tools you'll need. Somewhat basic tools, a few things like a torque wrench and a flexing socket extension. So up to this point we've removed the intake manifold. There's a section between the heads where just some RTV gasket maker is used, so you want to be very careful to clean that out. Use a putty knife or razor blade and clean that up as best you can. Obviously the cleaner you get it, the better it's going to seal. And then the same thing with your valve covers and your intake manifold. The more you clean them up, the better they'll seal and go back together. We're using a parts washer and degreaser here. You can actually use gasoline is a good solvent to do this kind of work with. Just do it in a way that's environmentally friendly. Here's the new gasket set from 1AAuto. You can see it comes obviously with the lower intake gaskets, the valve cover gaskets. There's some different O-rings and other gaskets for the EGR valve, etc., as well as bolts. And I'm going to stop it right here. You can see right where I'm pointing on the old gasket. This is what happens on these vehicles, these 3.4 liters. You can see the gasket has failed around the water jacket there, and that's allowing coolant to get into the oil.
So you just want to line up those pins, and you can see some of the push rods will have to go over and some will have to go under. You will actually be able to see from the indents in the gasket what goes where. So you just want to put those all in place. And you want to make sure that you get your push rods back underneath the rockers and in place. And then just tighten those rockers up with a 10mm socket. And we'll just fast forward here as he repeats the process on the other side. And again, just make sure the push rods are in place and tighten them up.
Tightening the rocker arms is crucial. The specification is 14 Newton meters plus 30 degrees. 14 Newton meters also equals 124 inch-pounds, which is about 10 foot-pounds. So you tighten them tighten all 12 of them up that much, and then you tighten it another 30 degrees. So tighten them all with the torque wrench, and then another 30 degrees with your wrench.
Then you want to take some RTV, which is like a liquid gasket, and you just want to attach these the two gaskets on either side of the intake manifold using this. Make sure that you do this on both sides. Once you've given that time to set, take your lower intake cover, and you want to have someone pull back the fuel injectors, and well, you just set that down into place. You want to go around and replace those 10mm bolts Now you just want to torque those upper bolts to 13 Newton meters and the lower bolts to 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds. And then it helps to have a swiveling extension so that you can get to this bolt right here and just torque that. Here's our now cleaned up valve cover, and you want to take this gasket that comes with the gasket set and you want to just put this on your valve cover and just push it into place. Now you want to put the valve cover on and have someone hold it while you start the first bolt, and you just want to tighten up all of those 8mm bolts. Now on the valve cover in the back, make sure you have someone again to hold back the coil pack, and then you can put that valve cover on, start a bolt, and then tighten all 4 of the bolts up. And right here on this pipe there's an O-ring. You want to remove that O-ring and then just kind of scrape at this with a flat blade screwdriver to try to clean it up a little bit. And in that gasket kit you'll see there's a replacement O-ring for this. So once you get it cleaned up, you just want to put the new O-ring from 1A Auto into place. Once the O-ring's on, you can push it down into place, and then you just want to replace the bolt. Now you just want to replace the bolt that holds this line in place. Now take a wire brush and you want to scrape up some of this debris that's on this pipe here. It's mainly just dried coolant. Just scrape off all that, clean it up a little bit. Take that tube and slide it back into place. Take a pair of pliers, push the 2 parts of the clamp together and slide it forward to lock the tube in place. Now you want to do the same thing here. Push this tube into place, slide the clamp forward, and you can tighten it with either a 7mm socket or a flat blade screwdriver.
Again, install the upper hose and re-secure the clamp.
Now you want to take these pulleys and you just want to line that up. Once it's lined up, you just want to feed it down into the hole right there, as you can see. And you just want to turn that bolt to secure it into the hole there. You can do it by hand to start. Alright, replace the 15mm bolt back here, and then there is a 15mm and a 16mm bolt that go on the side. You just want to put these back in place. Now you just want to put your power steering pulley back into place, and you can replace the 13mm bolts that secure that. Now you want to replace the wires on the back of the alternator and tighten up that 13mm bolt. Once that's tightened up, you want to just take that rubber boot and slide it back into place. Now you want to make sure that this bolt is already in place on the side before you put your alternator into place, because the firewall will be in the way of getting the bolt in. And once you get the alternator in place, you can tighten up that bolt and then replace the bolt on the front. And you can now replace the bolt in that bracket in front of the power steering pulley. You can now put your fuel injector leads back into place. They are numbered, just put them in order. It does have the number to match up above each fuel injector. Once you have the leads in place, you can line up those fuel injectors and push them down into place. You want to just replace these two bolts right here. Now you want to connect the lead right here in your alternator, and this lead down here. Now you want to take your new gaskets from that gasket pack from 1A Auto and just put them here into place. There's one for each side. Now down here on this tube, you just want to scrape off the old O-ring and just kind of clean that up a little bit. And in your gasket pack, there's a new O-ring, and you just want to put that into place and push that line into place. Now you just want to replace the nut down by that line you just plugged back in. And there's actually another one right below it, and you want to replace that one as well. You want to take this bracket that's in that gasket set from 1A Auto, take your upper intake plenum, and you want to just line it up. Make sure this harness goes up through that hole in the back on your right there, and then just put that plenum into place. You want to just replace all the bolts that go along this. Make sure that if there's a bracket that goes in that spot, you put the bolt down through the bracket, like right here.
And just fast forward, tighten these bolts up evenly, and then these bolts should be torqued to 18 foot-pounds.
In this bracket, you want to make sure that the harness goes underneath it. And you want to just take this, plug it in right next to that harness, and then plug the other end up here. And then take this, plug that lead into it, and set that down into that bracket. And you want to just tighten those bolts. And you want to just replace your coil pack bolts to secure the coil pack back into place. Just tighten those up real quick. Then you want to replace the two bolts back down underneath the coil pack. You want to just reach down there using a flashlight to see where the holes are and put those back. Do it by hand first and then tighten them up. Okay, you want to just put that hose back into place. Take the clamp, using pliers, slide it forward and it locks into place. You want to push this hose back into place. Same thing with this one.
On this vehicle, there's actually a plug. Here's the old manifold. You just see there's just a rubber plug there. Take it off of the old manifold and install it in the same place on the new one.
And you want to bolt your throttle body back into place. And you want to replace that nut on the bottom corner of the throttle body. And just replace the bolts up above the throttle body and tighten them. Okay, take this hose here, push it back, and then slide it down into place. And then you want to take your pair of pliers and push that clamp together and slide that forward. And then you want to take this hose, and you can see using a flat blade screwdriver, he's just positioning the hose onto that into place there, and it just slides down into place. And again, take pliers, push the clamp forward, and replace that bolt and tighten it. Now before putting your EGR on, put the new gasket from that gasket pack into place, and then line up your EGR, put that into place, and replace the bolt on either side.
Okay, and once we tighten up the EGR, then we're going to cut off this part of the video, and the next part of the video we're just going to finish up and get the thing running. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.